Welcome back, beautiful people. My name is Louie, and this is Real Production. Now let's get right into this news I have for you guys today. If you guys want to check out the markets, pause it right here so you guys can see it. Be better if your phone is sideways. All right. So the first article I have for you guys today is Trump basically says no deal with Iran. Trump demands unconditional surrender, sending oil surging, Bitcoin and stocks lowering. Okay. Second article I have for you guys is why Bitcoin couldn't hold the 70,000 despite its best week on Wall Street news in months. And then what we have next is BlackRock private credit fund is latest to crack, hitting crypto prices and DeFi markets. All right. Then next we have crypto and community banks. Oh, community banks and crypto industries are allies. All right, in the Clarity Act, and we'll go through that. This is kind of like the big banks versus the community banks and crypto industry. Okay. Next on the list, we have is Ripple preparing for a major operational move after 200 million XRP transferred, and we'll look at it, the major transactions right here. So we'll go through this and see what's going on, and then try to figure out, follow the breadcrumbs, like what we say. Next thing on the list is Kazakhstan central bank will invest up to 350 million in crypto assets, says Reuters. All right, coming up in a second. Alrighty. So, like I said, the first article we have is no deal with Iran. Trump demands unconditional surrender, which sends oil surging, okay, and Bitcoin and stocks lowering. And this is because people don't understand what's going to happen with this war. Okay, so people have to save some of their assets, they have to put stuff away for a rainy day if it gets, if this storm continues. So basically on True Social, a post, he basically said there would be no deal with Iran and he wants unconditional surrender. So it's one of those things that you have to understand that this war is deeper than what we can understand. And with oil prices and with the rate cuts that might be happening, and when oil goes up, everything goes up, okay? Because these trucks have to use oil to get places, and yada yada, so that gets dropped onto the consumer, us. All right, so just keep your head try to keep your head down but stay aware, you know what I mean, kind of like an ostrich. Keep your head away from the chaos but know what's going on, okay? But also he basically said that he indicated, he didn't say it, but he said that the U.S. would only help rebuild Iran after a new acceptable leader is selected. So, when you read these articles, you have to go deeper into them, and don't just read the article, actually go and do research with the article, okay? You take the article and search the many headlines and see where this actually came from, and then that's when you understand what's happening, okay? Because this is just a headline. I'm here to help break it down and send. I'll put them in the description down below. But it's your job to make sure you go and seek the information if you care about this. So it's deeper than just these words on the page. Okay, moving on. So why Bitcoin couldn't hold 70,000 despite its best week on Wall Street news in months. So basically, this kind of relates to what's happening with BlackRock. But like I said before, we can say it's just the Iranian war, or what's happening there. And also another thing I noticed is this 636. If you know, you know. I don't know. It's 36 and 36 is both ways, and they just happen to have this guy here wearing this. It's just crazy. But I'm not gonna go there here. But despite a way of crypto native wins like BNY Mellon acting as an ETF custodian and Kraken gaining Fed payment access, which I was going to cover. I might have covered this, but I don't know. But I was looking at this article. But Kraken gaining Fed payment, this was something good. And that's why I'm saying despite. Why couldn't it hold it despite? Because these are amazing things. Also, Bitcoin is increasingly ignoring positive industry news to follow the global trend, such as the U.S. dollar index and the interest rates. And I think there was also something with the let me scroll down here. There was something with the job market as well, the job market data that came out. I think that's later on. So we'll look at that in a second. But all this stuff, it's kind of like a web of things, and they all relate to each other. And when that's why I like covering multiple articles and different things, because, like I just said, they do relate to each other. And as crazy and complex and deep as some of this stuff is, because I know sometimes people come here and be like, what are you talking about? What are you explaining? What's going on? It's one of them things where you don't have to understand everything. You look for the pattern. I forgot what book it's from, but it was a saying. If you understand the trajectory of where we're going or where they want to get us, then you'll understand the steps they will take to get us there. So, in my opinion, with this 5D chess, it's about total control. It's about owning your soul. It's about making sure that you don't do nothing without their permission. You don't even have kids without their permission. That's how crazy this is about to get. And if we can't force you not to have kids, we'll make it so you don't settle down and start a family. That's what we got going on with you know. Anyways, I'm not gonna go on this rant, but like I said, it's important to pay attention, but at the same time, just know what they're trying to do. If you know what they're trying to do, then you understand the steps it'll take. Okay. So the same Wall Street adoption. I'm lagging. Hold on. The same Wall Street adoption the industry spent years chasing has tightly coupled Bitcoin with Nasdaq, leading to a sell-off in crypto right alongside tech stocks. So it was like I said in the earlier video today. We like to think stocks and crypto are different, but realistically they're the same, and they're going to be the same in the future once this tokenization and stuff takes off. Like, I don't know what's happening with the war in Iran. There's conspiracies out there, you know what I mean, with the flag, the top line being one river and the bottom line being the other river. You guys go do your own research, okay? I'm not here to tell you everything, okay? But yeah, it's kind of crazy, and I feel like this is the perfect catalyst for them to start setting crypto to be the most dominant thing in the world. Just because you need planned predictive programming type of, you know, things for people to go in a certain direction. So this is perfect. You know, it's going to drive oil prices up. People are going to be hurting people's pockets and all this stuff. And California has this new thing coming out where it's like 2 cents for every mile you drive your car. It's just getting out of control. But I'm going to move on. Here we go. Next article. So BlackRock's private credit fund is latest to crack, hitting crypto prices and DeFi market. So again, like I said, it's all connected. Stress in a 3.5 trillion private credit market could ripple into digital assets through both macro contagion and tokenized credit markets, experts warn. I just love this. You know, I'm big on Ripple, but like, you know what I mean? It's just, this article has nothing to do with Ripple, but yet they find a way to put it in there. It's genius. It's beautiful. It's like the writing's on the wall, you know? Mene. The writing's on the wall, but people don't see it. Anyways, BlackRock's 26 billion private credit fund is the latest sector to limit withdrawals, highlighting growing financial stress. So you just think about one of the biggest, BlackRock, is limiting withdrawals, telling people you can't take your money out. And that's what I'm talking about with these ETFs and stuff like that. Not your keys, not your crypto. You make sure you understand what's happening. This is a time where you can be your own bank, and you don't have to listen to the middleman. You don't have to wait for BlackRock to give you permission to use your own money, you know. But it's neither here nor there. But tokenized private credit products may create a direct channel for stress to reach decentralized finance market. And to me, this is a perfect way to slow down things, slow down the RWA, slow down everything. These type of planned chaos things is help to not just because you have to mitigate some losses. You have to understand that this system has to damn near be perfect, at least 90%. Okay. So if it's not perfect and people aren't playing correctly, and we're going to go into the community banks and the Clarity Act and stuff right now, but this is exactly it. Like, they're so close in hand. The stock market affects the crypto market, and the crypto market affects the stock market. And if you don't agree with that, then you haven't been paying attention. Okay. When we talk about gold, we talk about precious metals, all of this is intertwined. Okay. So, you know, don't just think crypto is the best. Don't just think stocks are the best. Don't just think, you know, precious metals are the best. It all works together, like crude oil and everything. Okay. Moving on. Let's look at this community banks and crypto industry. Basically, community banks and crypto industries are allies in the Clarity Act. And basically, this is, I'll break it down. So basically, if the crypto industry and community banks cannot find common ground in the Clarity Act, the only winners will be the big banks, according to Executive Austin Campbell. And this is very true because the community banks can use the the stable coins and stuff like that for their transactions. They don't have to do the Nostra Rosa accounts. They don't have to do all this stuff that big banks have to do and still are doing, because the big banks aren't going to make a move until everything is regulated and perfect, like I just said. You get what I mean? These smaller banks will take a small risk because they can afford to. Big banks can't do that because they have millions and billions of transactions happening. So it's like, yeah, they might be able to dip their toe in there, but then again, it's like the saying goes, it's like, don't try to fix something that's not broken. And to be honest, the system is broken, but it works for them. The loans and all the interest rates, it works for them. So at the end of the day, these community banks and it's kind of like they, like with Ripple. It's like if Ripple is offering what banks are offering, why can't they just become a bank? And that's up in the air. You know what I mean? And it makes sense. If they're doing the same things that banks are doing, why can't they just become a bank themselves if they get the right, you know, verifications and stuff? And they're doing it. And they're doing it. If you're not paying attention, if you haven't been here, they've been doing it. You know, go search other channels and see what Ripple has working in the background, you know? So basically, where was it? Right here. Let me pull it up. Simple roll. No. It's right up here. They're not enemies, Campbell said. The community banks. So basically, with a stable coin, the issuers cannot offer yield. Okay. So for instance, Tether can't give you a yield for holding their stuff, but a crypto industry or a crypto exchange can give you a yield for putting that there. And usually those yields and rates are higher than big banks when you put your money there. So that is the problem. Whenever these smaller banks are able to use other parties to help their clients gain yield because they can't personally do it, then that's when it becomes a problem for the big banks. Because why would I get 5% when I can get 10%? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's something similar to that, where it's like, there's no point in putting your money in the bank anymore. Well, in a big bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you don't get nothing for it. Okay? So with the Clarity Act, this helps the small banks and the crypto industries because of the stable coins. Remember, the stable coins cannot offer yield, but the companies that like Kraken or Coinbase or other companies like that can give you yield by holding your assets there. Okay, moving on. So Ripple is preparing a major operational move after 200 million XRP transfer? Question mark. And yeah, this is what you have to pay attention to. So basically, the XRP community, XIF, has shown attention to a large transaction involving Ripple, suggesting the company may be preparing for a major operational move. So basically, XRP community, like he just said, they moved 200 million from one of its wallets, and the wallet wasn't able to be figured out. Okay, but if you go down here, here is here's the transaction right here on the ledger. And like I said earlier, this is why, earlier in the other video, okay, if you guys haven't watched it, go watch today's earlier video. But this is why I say I love blockchain, because it's visible. You can see this. It's like, that's a lot of XRP. Where are you moving it to? Who is it going to? And you know that's not going to any small player. That's just it. So whatever they have working in the background under these NDAs or whatnot, it lets me know something's happening. This is just, you know, this type of transfer is not usual. Notably, Ripple frequently reallocates funds across its wallets for operational purposes, including liquidation management for institutional clients and exchange-in related operations. So this is going to one. Usually when they move something like this, they move it into multiple wallets. One can get liquidated, one can wait to get liquidated, one might be under a smart contract. There's many ways that this new technology works. Okay, when you understand the whole idea of a smart contract, of a tokenized asset, you know, which is a RWA, when you talk about collateral, when you talk about credit, this is not a debt-based system no more. This is a credit-based system, and it works like that. It doesn't work like anything else, and it's like that because there's a finite amount that you can't print more So when you can't print more, it becomes a credit-based system instead of a debt-based system. When you're able to print more and lend and do all this, it's debt. Okay, moving on. I love this. That's why I do this. Okay, because it lets me know we're all, whoever's here paying attention, we're moving in the right direction. If you care about this, then you understand what's happening. You know, you can see the writing on the wall. But Kazakhstan's central bank will invest up to $350 million in crypto assets. That's huge, bro. If you don't know anything about Kazakhstan, then you should do your research. Actually, let's go do it real quick since I got a little more time. So basically, let's go here. Let's look at some of these pictures of this place. This place is beautiful. You can see the sun there. But basically, they don't mess around. Let me see. Let's look at some of their buildings. Let's check some of their buildings out. Okay, look at this place. All right, you've been to Dubai probably, and you've been to other places, but Kazakhstan is one of those places. Okay, I think they even have like a White House there. So you have to understand what these. It's beautiful there. This is also there. This is there. It's beautiful there. So when you have a country like this, you know what I mean? They have their own White House. Okay, like I said, you got to be in the know what's going on. When they are investing up to 350 million in crypto, then you pay attention to something like this. You try to figure out what they're investing in, and you follow the breadcrumbs. I'm not saying this is financial advice, but you have to understand that basically they're taking away from their gold assets and putting it into crypto. Okay, so basically derived from Central Asia foreign exchanges, which total nearly 70 billion as February. But basically, it's going to be gold. It's going to be gold. They're taking some of their gold and putting it into crypto assets. Which ones? We'll have to wait and see. But continue looking for information. Remember, your mind is your crown. The way you see the world inside is how the world outside is going to be for you. Okay? If this is too complicated for you, tell yourself it's not. Simple as that. It's not about, oh, I don't understand this, too complicated, it's too much. No. Change your mindset and your reality changes. My name is Louis. Again, I love y'all. Peace.